You exhaust your energy whenever you explain your next move, and seeking validation weakens your momentum. Silence isn't just power, it's protection. By keeping the details of your life private, you regain control. You can focus better, act with precision, and avoid unnecessary opinions that might sidetrack your progress. The fewer people who know about your journey, the more unstoppable your results become. Master the power of privacy, and you'll witness your life transform. Soon, I'll explain how staying quiet about your aspirations fosters focus, strength, and unstoppable forward momentum. You're unknowingly giving away your power. It's not something you notice immediately. It starts innocently. Telling a friend your plan, sharing your next move, or hinting at an ambition. You might believe speaking it aloud makes it real, yet slowly and unknowingly you relinquish pieces of your power. The more you reveal, the less you retain. You confuse mere talk with actual progress. You discuss the mountain you'll climb, but never take that crucial first step. Now, ask yourself, why do you feel compelled to tell others? Is it for validation of your path, or to convince yourself it truly exists? What if I told you that silence builds more momentum than words, and that the instant you open your mouth to describe your vision, you've already delayed it? The world doesn't need your declarations, it needs your results. And so do you. You stop telling everyone because some ears simply aren't meant to hear your calling. Speaking too soon invites doubt and even silent sabotage. Not all advice is helpful, and not all support is sincere. When you guard your vision closely, you keep your energy focused. Silence isn't hiding, it's preserving. Picture this. Imagine. You've decided to build a garden, but every day you talk about it instead of planting. You describe the soil, the flowers, the colors, but weeks pass, and there's no garden, only words. Now, imagine if you kept quiet and worked in solitude instead. One morning, your neighbors awaken to see a blooming beauty they never saw coming. Which approach builds more power? So ask yourself, are you planting seeds or just talking about gardening? The more you speak, the more you weaken your resolve. You weren't born to explain yourself. You were born to achieve something so undeniable it requires no words. Each time you speak of what you intend to do, you borrow energy from your own future. You inflate your ambition with empty words, and like a balloon, it may rise higher but becomes more fragile. You might believe that telling others creates accountability, but does it? Or does it merely feed your ego, satisfied with applause before the performance has even begun? There's an ancient strength in restraint. The builder, the patient hunter, the quiet craftsman, each understands that power thrives in privacy, that stillness sharpens the blade. What is this truly about? It's about keeping your word to yourself. When you speak too much, you give others the opportunity to discourage, distract, or even derail you. But when you move in silence, your work speaks volumes before you utter a single sentence. Imagine this. You tell everyone you'll rise before dawn and train. They nod. Some support you, some doubt you, and some secretly hope you fail. Now, your discipline is tied to their reactions. If they mock you, you might stop. If they cheer too soon, you might feel a sense of completion. But what if you told no one, and let your sharpened body and focused mind reveal the truth later? Ask, why do I want to tell? Do you need applause or results? Would you rather be praised for your potential or respected for your outcomes? Don't declare your greatness into the air. Build it into the ground beneath your feet. At your journey isn't a performance. This path isn't a stage yet. Too many act as if the world is watching. It's waiting for approval, performing their growth instead of living it. But success isn't theater. It's quiet struggle. It's a silent war within. When you turn your life into a performance for others, you lose touch with your own desires. You start to tailor your goals to fit someone else's applause. You forget your initial purpose. You exchange authenticity for approval, and in doing so, you walk someone else's path, never your own. Why must you stop telling everyone? Because their eyes aren't your compass. Their cheers aren't your purpose. You don't need witnesses. You need conviction, and conviction flourishes in solitude. What happens when you stop performing? You stop worrying about how it looks and start focusing on how it feels. You begin making choices that align with your mission, not their admiration. And your energy, no longer drained by the need to be seen, starts to surge. Picture this. You decide to write a book. You begin sharing quotes, discussing pages, and showing glimpses of chapters, but you never finish. The performance exhausts the purpose. Now imagine the opposite. You go quiet, you write, revise, and finish. One day, you place the book in someone's hands, and it speaks for itself. Which version wins? So, I ask you, are you building a legacy? Or narrating a fantasy? Silence attracts strength. Noise invites doubt. There's something magnetic about the person who says nothing, the one who doesn't need to announce every plan. They move in stillness, but there's a fire in their eyes. Their silence conveys, I know where I'm going. I don't need you. The world doubts what it hears too soon. When you speak your dreams aloud, you expose them to the winds of opinion, and most winds scatter, not carry. People project their fears, failures, and disbelief. If you're not armored in silence, their doubt becomes your own. You stay quiet because noise weakens your focus. Stillness breeds certainty. Inner conviction must be protected like a flame from the wind. Imagine this. You're building a bridge across a canyon. The wood is fragile, the ropes thin. If you shout about the bridge before it's built, a crowd gathers. They criticize the design, question the length, and call it impossible. The noise distracts. The pressure weakens your hand. But if you build in silence when it's complete, they'll walk across in awe. You don't need to prove your path. You need to walk it unshaken. Let your silence grow roots. Let your steps, not your speech, echo. What if the most powerful thing you ever did was keep your mouth shut until your actions made the noise? Not everyone deserves to know your next step. You might think everyone deserves to know what you're doing, dreaming, and where you're headed. But the truth is, most people don't deserve that access. Not everyone is equipped to hold your vision with care. Some ask out of genuine concern, but many ask with other motives. Curiosity, control, comparison. They don't ask to cheer you on. They ask to calculate your pace, to ensure they're ahead, or to prepare the hooks that will pull you back down when you start to rise. When you share too much, too early, you give away your advantage. You allow outside voices to influence something sacred, something still forming. You hand over the raw blueprint of your soul. And others begin scribbling on it with their own doubts, fears, and unresolved failures. Soon you start seeing your dream through their eyes, not yours. You begin to hesitate, not because you're unsure of your purpose, but because they made you unsure of your path. You start to shrink. It's not because your vision is small, but because the room you spoke in was too shallow to hold it. So you must learn this truth. Your journey isn't for public consumption. Your dream isn't an announcement. It's a covenant. And not everyone who smiles at you is safe. Silence isn't secrecy. It's sovereignty. It's protection. It's wisdom. When you keep your vision close, you allow it to grow without interference. You preserve its power. You protect your momentum. Most importantly, you maintain your edge because no one can prepare for what they can't predict. Consider this. Imagine you're planning a significant move, a new city, a new job, a new chapter. You tell everyone. Some applaud, some laugh, and some warn you of every imaginable risk. Start doubting, you delay, and eventually you stay. But what if you had packed quietly? What if you made no announcements, answered no probing questions, and offered no explanations? What if one morning you simply left? No noise, no drama? And what if, months later, they hear about your success, not from you, but from the ripple effect of what you've built? That's power, that's control. That's how legacies are born, not through declarations, but through demonstration, through silent execution, through action without applause. So ask yourself, do you want to feel good today or win tomorrow? Do you want the illusion of greatness or the grit of reality? If it isn't done, don't speak it. Let your work be the proof. Let your actions be the noise. Place empty praise with actual power. Don't trade your fire for applause, because the dream is sacred, and it deserves to be earned, not announced. A dream spoken too soon is a dream stolen. Some dreams don't die on the battlefield of failure. They're stolen before they've even begun. Not by enemies, not by critics, but by your own unguarded voice. You speak of it too soon. You open the door before it's time.
Ads.
And the moment the words leave your mouth, they no longer belong fully to you. The world hears it, snatches it, twists it out. And before long, the dream feels foreign, shaped more by others' opinions than your original intent. What was once yours now seems distant, fragile, doubtful, because when a dream is new, it is delicate. Like a seed just planted, it needs to stay underground for a while. The light is too harsh. The world is too noisy. It doesn't take much a mocking smile, a raised eyebrow, a well-meaning but misplaced suggestion to pull it out of the soil before it ever takes root. A root doesn't grow on the surface. A spark doesn't become fire when exposed to the wind. The early stages of anything sacred require darkness, solitude, protection, a place where intention can deepen without interruption. But we often forget this. We feel the spark of something. Great an idea, a goal, a vision, and we rush to share it. We want to be understood. We want support. We want recognition before the result. But most of the world isn't built to carry the weight of a dream that hasn't yet formed. They can't see what you see. They don't feel what you feel. And that's not always their fault. But their misunderstanding becomes dangerous. They offer advice not rooted in faith, but in fear. They try to improve what they don't understand. They confuse your direction, and you, if you're not grounded, start to reshape your dream to please their perspective. Before long, it's no longer yours. It becomes a hybrid of suggestions, doubts, and diluted ambition. You wake up wondering if the original dream was even real. It was real, but you exposed it before it had the strength to survive, so you must guard it. Like fire in its early stages, cup your hands around it. Like a sculptor in the privacy of his shed, work quietly. Don't explain, don't defend, don't declare, just build. Let your silence speak louder than promises, because not every plan deserves a voice. Not every idea needs an audience. Silence isn't secrecy, it is strength. It is choosing to protect rather than perform. Picture a sculptor. He drags a block of stone into a small shed. No one asks what he's making. He doesn't invite them in. He doesn't post sketches. He works in the quiet. Day after day, chisel in hand, he chips away. Had he shared the vision too soon, they'd laugh. They'd interrupt. That doesn't look like anything. Are you sure? Try something easier. But he says nothing. He just works until one day the doors open and a statue stands tall, and now they admire. Now they understand. But they weren't meant to witness the process, only the result. So ask yourself honestly, have you spoken your dream too early? Are you feeding it with labor or weakening it with exposure? The next time your mouth opens, pause. Let the idea grow stronger, steadier, silent, because sometimes the silence is the very thing that keeps your dream alive. And when it finally emerges, it won't ask for applause. It will command it. Your growth is personal, not public. You aren't growing for display. You are growing for destiny. And that path, if it is true, if it is sacred, cannot be shared with the crowd. It is not for applause or validation. It is a walk you take alone, step by step in silence through fire, confusion, grace, and grit. Some moments in life are not meant to be witnessed. They are meant to shape you in solitude. They are not made for sharing. They are made for forging. Yet in a world that worships visibility, many forget that the most powerful transformations often happen unseen. What do most people do instead? They confuse change with spectacle. They believe that every adjustment must be documented, that every shift must be announced. As if telling the world what you're becoming is the same as actually becoming it, but it's not. Growth is not performance. Growth is not something to declare. It is something to endure, something to embody. It doesn't seek the spotlight. It seeks the soil, the work, the weight. Why must you keep your growth private? Because the moment you announce it, you limit it. You give it a shape too soon. You tell the world, this is who I am now, and suddenly you feel pressure to be that version every day. You stop evolving freely. You stop adapting to what life is really asking of you, and instead you begin performing. Living for the image you painted with your own words, the raw, chaotic, deeply personal process of true change becomes a show, and in doing so, you lose the very freedom that growth requires. True transformation isn't tidy. It's not photogenic. It's not a clean staircase upward. It is messy. It is private. It is filled with breakdowns, shifts, relapses, and breakthroughs. You might grow in directions you didn't expect. You might destroy old dreams and birth new ones. You might change so profoundly that what you declared last month no longer fits. This week, so why confine yourself with a narrative? Why hand the pen to the crowd when your story is still unfolding? Let them wonder. Let them guess. Let them speak in confusion while you walk in clarity. You owe no explanation for your evolution. And if someone demands one, that's a sign they were never meant to walk beside you in the first place. Think of it like this. Imagine planting a seed. You press it into the soil, water it, and leave it alone. You do not dig it up each morning. To see if it's sprouted, you do not parade it through town to show others. Look, I'm growing something. You nurture it quietly. You protect it silently. You trust the darkness, the slowness, the patience of it all. And then one day, without warning, a green shoot pierces through the ground and later still a bloom. It arrives when it's ready, not when someone asked for it, not when you try to prove it. Let your life be that seed. Let it unfold in its own rhythm. Let it bloom without warning. Let your silence hold space for something real to emerge. The most powerful version of you will not be born through declarations. It will be born through discipline, struggle, and the kind of private work that no one claps for. But when it comes, it will need no introduction. It will speak through your strength, your energy, your presence. Ask yourself honestly, are you sharing your growth or performing it? Are you truly transforming, or are you rehearsing for applause? Is your silence a lack of confidence, or is it the presence of power? You don't owe the world your process. You owe yourself the respect to live it fully, without interruption, without performance, without premature applause. Let your work become the voice. Let your results do the talking. Let your transformation arrive quietly so that when it speaks, the world has no choice but to listen. Every time you speak, you invite interference. You may not realize it in the moment, but every time you speak, every time you share your plans, your hopes, your vision, you open a gate. Every conversation becomes a door, and the more you speak, the more doors you leave unlocked, people walk in. Some come with curiosity, others with concern. Some offer encouragement, others offer doubt. And the dangerous truth is this: not everyone who enters your mind deserves to be there. It's not always malicious. Some people genuinely believe they're helping. They offer advice, share experiences, give warnings. But what they don't realize, and what you must, is that intention doesn't equal impact. A kind suggestion can derail months of clarity. A simple question can make you hesitate. A lighthearted joke can cast a shadow over your certainty, because your vision is still forming. It's tender. It doesn't need spectators. It needs protection. You have to become ruthless about what you let in. This isn't about fear. It's about focus. You are not obligated to explain yourself. You are not required to update everyone on what you're building. Silence is not secrecy. It's strategy. The more you talk, the more you dilute. The more opinions you invite, the more you scatter your power. And what begins as a clear, burning purpose becomes a fog of confusion you can't trace. Back to its source. Think about what happens when too many voices gather in your mind. You begin to second guess, not because you're weak, but because clarity can't survive chaos. You start to shift your direction, not from conviction, but from pressure. You water down your dreams so it fits their understanding. You start walking, not toward your vision, but toward their comfort. And slowly you realize you've left your path completely. Not because you lost your ambition, but because you traded your compass for applause. Picture it. You're a beginner learning to carve wood. You shape your first piece, It's uneven, rough, raw, but it's yours. You show it to 10 people. One says, it's too short. Another says it should be symmetrical. A third suggests, you know what? You'd be better at metal. Now what do? You change your design. You aim for perfection. You doubt your tools. The next piece you carve isn't from your heart. It's a quilt of criticism. What was once your expression is now a compromise. What was once alive has become mechanical. This is why silence matters, because silence guards you. It gives your ideas a chance to become strong before they're tested. It lets your vision form fully before it faces the world. Doesn't mean you're hiding. It means you're mastering. You're not retreating, you're refining. You're staying inside the workshop until the blade is sharp. Foundation is firm. The path is clear. You don't open the door while the fire is still catching. You wait, you build, and when it's ready, you emerge, not seeking validation, but revealing. Victory. Ask yourself honestly, do you want their input or your outcome? Are you building for applause or for completion? Because you can't serve both. The crowd wants updates. The mission wants results. You can either keep everyone informed or keep yourself focused. One brings noise, the other brings success. There's power in mystery. There's freedom in privacy. You don't need to prove you're working. You don't need to convince anyone of your potential. When you speak less, you protect more. When you keep your plans within, they grow without interference. And when you finally unveil them, the results speak with a voice far louder than your explanations ever could. And even then, even when the work is done, say less than you could, because once they know your next move, they can start preparing. They're resistance. But when they're left guessing, they can't stop what they can't see. Silence keeps you one step ahead, keeps your energy centered, it keeps your purpose intact. You don't owe the world a play-by-play of your transformation. You owe yourself the space to complete it. Some gates are better left closed. Some dreams are better guarded in the dark. And some paths, especially the sacred ones, are meant to be walked alone. Let your silence build momentum. Let your actions tell the story. Let your results make the noise, because those who move in silence move without resistance. And those who move without resistance arrive. Not all listeners want you to succeed. You assume their ears are safe. That because someone smiles, nods, or asks you how things are going, they must care. You mistake attention for support. But not everyone who listens is cheering for you. Some listen so they can compare themselves to you. Others listen so they can copy you. And a quiet few, they're listening just to see you fail, because your ambition unsettles their comfort. Your progress exposes their stillness. Deep down, they'd rather see you stop than succeed. It's a bitter truth, but an essential one. Not every listener wants you to win. And when you speak without discernment, when you declare your vision to anyone willing to hear it, you unknowingly feed those who wish you silent. You give them the map to your momentum, the structure of your spirit, and all they need is one well-placed word to shake it. Why does this matter so much? Because the path you're on, your calling, your purpose, your personal mountain, is sacred. It is not made for public debate. It is not built to be carried in the minds of the doubtful, the distracted, or the lazy. Yet when you speak too soon, too often, or too widely, that's exactly what you do. You hand something holy to people who haven't earned the right to hold it. And the danger doesn't always come wrapped in hostility. It comes in the form of concern, in small comments, and softly spoken skepticism. They won't try to stop you with force. They'll do it with questions, with a raised eyebrow, a polite interesting, with words like realistic, safe, or practical. And those words will echo in your mind long after the conversation ends, because doubt doesn't need volume, it just needs access. You may think you're simply sharing an idea, but in truth, you're seeking something deeper, approval. You want reassurance. You want someone to say, yes, that's great. But if your confidence depends on someone else's permission, then your dream is already at risk. Because the moment they disapprove, even gently, you begin to bend. Your momentum halts. Your clarity dims. You start adjusting your vision, not for what's right, but for what's received well. And that's how the most powerful dreams die. not with rejection, but with hesitation. Think of it like this. You've spent years preparing for a new chapter. You've sacrificed, planned, worked. You're ready to launch. And in a casual moment, you tell someone you thought you could trust. They smile, then pause. Are you sure that's realistic? That's all. No attack, no argument, just a whisper. But that whisper wraps around your spirit like a rope. It lingers. It questions. And by the next morning, you're not moving forward. You're reassessing, recalculating, rethinking. You lost the fire. Not because it faded on its own, but because you opened the door and let someone else blow it out. But what if you hadn't said anything? What if your first step wasn't announcement, but execution? What if instead of validation, you sought results? No preview, no performance, just the work done in silence, completed in focus. And one day you arrive, not as a promise, but as a reality. They see it when it's finished. They hear of it when it can't be stopped. And in that moment, they'll know they weren't needed. You don't owe anyone a preview of your path. You don't need to be understood to be successful. You don't need to be applauded to be ready. Some journeys require isolation, not because you're weak, but because the process is too sacred to be polluted, because greatness is fragile in its infancy, and the wrong voice at the wrong time can ruin what's meant to bloom. So ask yourself, with honest clarity, are they helping or are they holding you back? Are they supporters or are they shadows? Not all listeners are allies. Some are anchors. And if you keep talking, you'll keep sinking. Protect your vision like it's gold. Your plans like a secret. Starve the doubters. Deprive them of your progress. Let them guess, wonder, speculate. And when the time comes, show them. Let your results speak with thunder. Let your actions roar in the silence they underestimated. Because real success doesn't need a spokesperson. It doesn't need a crowd. It needs discipline. And sometimes that discipline means saying nothing at all. Speak less, build more, and rise so high they hear about you before they even see you coming. Talk less. Build more. A man once believed that declaring his goals loudly and often would somehow speed up his arrival at them. He mistook sound for substance, echo for effort. Every time he opened his mouth to proclaim what he would do, it felt like movement. It felt like purpose. But each word was a brick taken from the foundation of his dream and thrown into the wind. He built castles in the clouds with sentences, while his hands stayed idle, and the ground beneath him remained untouched. His energy was spent not in motion, but in presentation. He wanted the world to know he was building something, but he wasn't.